All right. This works. All right. Good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing? All right. Welcome to Maximizing Social Security. Who wants to learn how to get more money from Social Security? Let's see the hands. That's what everybody's here for, right? All right, cool. Welcome. I'm Brian Safdari. I'm going to be the presenter tonight. If you walked in one per family, you should have received a packet. My staff is actually trying to get the other staff members to bring some additional packets. Luckily, we're close by. We're in Northridge, so we might have some people dropping off packets. So that's the good thing of doing a presentation only a mile away or 2 miles from your office. So for those of you who gave this back, thank you. We will get you some as soon as they get back in. There are chairs here. If we run out of chairs, there's chairs in the back, so I'll have to grab some. Or Mark, if you see anybody else come, there's some chairs back there, if you can just help me. All right, so packets here. Inside your packet, you might have already probably gone through it. Feel free to use any of the pages to take notes. If you need a pen, there's a pen back there. There's pens if you'd like to take a pen. It's about $10 an hour for our pens. Feel free to use our Mont Blanc pens. So they're there for you. And then the only thing, if you don't mind, on your way out, before you leave, if you could just fill out the forms, turn this in the back on your way out, and we'll talk about how to engage with me if you wanted additional information or guidance after tonight. So we'll cover all that at the end. So that's your packet. A couple housekeeping rules. If you have your cell phones, if you can put those on vibrate, just want to avoid any distractions. It helps me out to stay on track. Packets we went over, evaluations we went through, and today we're going to talk about what you need to know to help get the most out of your benefits tonight. And a little bit about my story. I'll share a little bit about me. I grew up here in Northridge. I moved. I was an immigrant from an immigrant family. I was 5 when I came to the U.S. and was raised here in Northridge my whole life, Chatsworth and Northridge. Went to Lawrence Middle School, went to Chatsworth High School. So this is my hometown here. I've been here my whole life. And I went to Cal State Northridge. You guys heard of CSUN down here, right? CSUN. I went to CSUN. A little bit of story about me. I was a soccer player, played soccer my whole life. My dad played pro, and I played club soccer. I played on the Olympic development team, ODP it's called, in 96, 98, went to France for the World Cup, played in the Junior World Cup, and played on the U17 team, was hoping to get a full scholarship to go to Duke, was my #1 school, in UCLA. Those are the 2 schools I was being scouted for. Got a scholarship to go, and my senior year ended up tearing my growing muscle right in the senior year, which coaches said at that point it's a contingency scholarship, meaning you got to pay the first year, and then we'll reevaluate your scholarship the second year and on. Unfortunately, my parents were low income. We couldn't afford paying the first year to go to Duke, so I looked at all my schools, and I said I wanted to go away and go play UCLA or Duke, and CSUN still had a great program, was a D1 school. I ended up living at home, going to Cal State Northridge, eating top ramen noodles every day, starving college student to get through college. I learned 100 ways to make top ramen noodles getting out of college, and that was my whole college journey. And when I was going through the process, I filled out the FAFSA forms, if you heard of financial aid forms, made mistakes. The schools gave me loans, borrowed loans, adjustable loans, as you've been seeing what's been going on with all the education debt. I got in a lot of debt coming out of college, going to CSUN. When I came out, I found out I could have gone to Duke for cheaper than going to Cal State Northridge based on how the system works. So I found out how the higher education system works, and that's when I was just upset with the whole system, and I said I could have gone to Duke. I got in debt, and that's when I was sharing this info with my friends and family and people I knew. And in 2005, I started a company called College Planning Experts. It's still around. It's more of a nonprofit. We help a lot of parents and kids get their kids through college and make it affordable. So I started there my first couple years, and through that journey, parents would come to me and say, how do I pay for the cost? We got in, we got free money, but how do we pay the difference? And when I started having that discussion with parents, I realized that your child's college education revolves around funding college, which is an expensive process. But while I was hearing that discussion, the conversation was always about, I want to help my kids go to college, but I want to be able to also retire. And I want to be able to pay my debt off. So I realized the common thread was college, being debt-free, and retirement, not running out of money for retirement. So that's when I started really looking at how do I help families solve those three big goals. And that's kind of how I got into the financial space, and I started looking at retirement planning from a lens of more of a holistic approach of how do we fund college and retirement. So that's kind of how my journey started in the financial planning space. And I was making a difference in kids' lives and parents' lives, but I realized that people were making mistakes in their wealth, like they're transferring wealth to somebody else, meaning to the government or in taxes, or they were just making mistakes they didn't know. And that's when I started helping families look at areas that they didn't know they were making mistakes. So that's how I got into the financial space. So my goal is to empower you tonight. I want to help you. I want to give you confidence. I want to share as much information as I can. If I can help one person in this room maximize their Social Security and understand all the different options, then I feel like I've done my part. So I just have this thing where I thrive off of making an impact in people's lives. So that's why I do these. I love doing these presentations. As you can see, we have a full room here tonight. So a couple things as I start the presentation. Is it okay if I ask you guys to hold your questions to the end? Would that be okay? Cool. I just want to make sure I give you all the content. I have a bunch of slides. I want to go through every strategy for Social Security tonight and give you all the tools. And then anywhere in the strategies that you see, go, I have a question on this. This might pertain to my situation. Just write down your questions. And what we'll do is at the end, some people have to leave. I'll leave some time for Q&A if you want to ask me some general questions. Does that sound okay with everyone?
Yes.
All right, cool. Perfect.
I just have one question.
Yes.
While you're showing your presentation, is it okay putting your phone on mute? If you have a chart or a graph, can we take a picture?
Yeah, absolutely. Good question. If you want to take pictures, feel free. Just keep in mind, if you're going to take pictures, be aware of people behind you because they might be taking notes. So just don't photobomb your person behind you. So, but yeah, feel free if you'd like to take pictures. There are some cool charts and tables I'm going to show, and you'll know what's appropriate that you want to take pictures. So absolutely, totally okay. So just a few little, just these are disclaimers and disclosures. This basically, the short version just says we are not administrative, we are not part of the Social Security or any government agency. The information here is for educational purposes only. And any information that I shared tonight, make sure you consult with any Social Security person if you're your tax person, or just make sure you consult with your professionals before you implement any strategies that I'm going to share with you tonight. AFEC, it's the Adult Financial Education Services. It's a nonprofit organization. I'm an instructor for them, and all we're doing is you got invited for this to share how Social Security works. That's one of the topics that we discuss. And the course objectives for tonight is how Social Security can be influenced by 6 fundamental financial planning considerations. I'm going to share that. The complexities of Social Security and why it's crucial to start claiming and making the right decisions. The role Social Security benefits can play an overall role in your retirement income, and the importance of getting the most out of your benefits. So that's what everybody wants, is to get the most out of your benefits. So we're going to talk about that. Additional potential monetary consequences and benefits of claiming early versus late. You probably have questions, do I take it early? Do I take it late? What's the difference? We're going to cover that. We'll talk about key spousal decisions and benefits surrounding around marriage, divorces, survivorships, and guardianships. So we'll talk about some of those complexities that maybe apply to you. I'll cover how Social Security is structured to help combat inflation. We've been seeing the challenge with inflation, right? Especially the past couple years. And potentially how it may add additional tax liabilities in your retirement. So we'll cover that as well. Now, before I get here, I would love for participation. Maybe you guys can share what brought you here. I would love to hear what intrigued you to be here, what your concerns are, what you want to get out of this session. Anybody want to volunteer? Or you're going to be voluntold, one of the two. What's your name? Nancy, right?
Yeah,
Nancy.
very good. Just retired.
Awesome. Can I join you? Do you have enough to take care of me as well? It never hurts to ask, right?
No, it's very scary, but I had enough of what I was doing, so I had to retire.
Okay.
I'm done.
And probably in 6 months to a year, you're going to get bored and you'll find something to do that you're going to love doing.
I'm trying right now
Yes.
to find out what I wanted to always do when I was working and I couldn't.
Uh-huh.
So I'm looking into different things about what I'm gonna do now.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Yes.
We're taking early October and November.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So we just want to make sure we're doing it right.
Okay, perfect. You're in the right place. We'll cover some of those ideas and strategies. Anybody else on this side? Anybody want to? This is the shy side. This is the not. All right, just kidding. Yes.
You know, it's how complicated it is.
Complexity.
Yeah, it's just,
Okay.
it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
I spend hours trying to figure out, and
All right.
I just always feel like
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Complexity. It's like you look at the statements. It says 62, 67, and 7. You're like, okay, there's only 3 ways. I promise you, there's 9,000 different combinations actually by the Social Security office, and your complexity statement is absolutely correct. So I'll share some of those scenarios and how to really understand the complexity, how to simplify it. So I'll show you how to do that as well. Someone here, yes.
And basically, when do you apply?
Okay, when to apply?
You know, yeah, when do you apply?
Okay, perfect. Yes, any others? Anybody else? Yes.
Yeah, spouses and how, my wife, I think,
Spousal support.
well, no, spouses can take all of theirs or half of their spouses, right? And-
Yes.
And that's one of my questions.
All right, that's a scenario.
Mine's gonna be more,
Yeah,
and then it will depend on when I actually start taking it.
sure.
And she's already taken her, so I'm hoping they'll roll it to hire one when I retire.
All right, perfect. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, yes.
one of the complexities I'm concerned about is the interconnection between Social Security and Medicare.
Okay, all right, perfect. Thank you. That's, yes,
You know, we have a plan, but we want to make sure that we're doing it right. We're not going to make any mistakes.
right plan. Okay, cool. Second opinion, and just to make sure you get the additional info. Yes, one more. We'll do one more.
Okay, I went to request my social security, and they don't explain it. I mean, I was reading online,
Yeah.
whatever, but then when you ask questions, they say, well, you should know that. You should read before you come.
Yeah,
And it's like gonna make it so difficult for you. And then they say, you only qualify for this much,
yeah,
and then from there, we're gonna take like $400 for you,
Yeah.
Medicare.
yeah. So,
And it's like, you went with,
yeah.
okay,
So she went into Social Security, and they said, you should know this stuff, and you should figure it out, right? I'm going to share all that. So thanks for sharing. Now, for those of you who can retire, if you can retire, what would you do in retirement? What do you want to do if you were able to retire and get the most benefit? One last question. I'd love to hear, what do you want to do? Yes, Nancy?
You wait until, well, for me, I have to wait until I'm 66.10 months.
Okay, so so let me rephrase the question. The question is, what would you like to, if you can retire with the maximum benefits, what would you do with the money? What would you want to do in retirement?
travel.
The fun stuff. Travel. Yes, okay, that's what I like to hear. Travel. What else?
Build a house in the Philippines.
Build a house in the Philippines. Okay. You guys agree on that? Because she's, I don't,
Help the Filipino market.
okay, yeah. Okay. All right, cool. Just want to make sure you guys are good. We get these discussions too. I want to do something and I get hit by saying, no, that's not going to happen. So I'm sure we know what that's like, right? Cool. Thanks for sharing. What else? What's the purpose? Why do we work? Why do we do all of this for? What is this all about? Is it to just have more money, or is it more to that? I'd love to know what else.
For my grandkids.
I love that. Take care of my grandkids. Yeah. Who wants to see the grandkids growing up and maybe helping them eventually go to college? I have clients, multi-generational clients, where I see the grandparents helping the parents and their kids through college savings plans and saving for them and having extra money to put away in their college savings so that their kids can go to college as well. So I've been on both sides of that. Any other fun stuff? Yes.
Yeah, my wife is faced with this decision whether to retire early, which is at 62,
Okay.
as opposed to 66, okay, which is the full retirement. Now, is there a cap as far as earning is concerned? For example, if she retired retired right now and getting her pension, let's say
Okay.
1 a month, and
Yeah.
if she gets a social security at 62, that's about 1,800.
Yeah.
Now, is there a cap as far as how much you can make as far as early retirement is concerned?
Perfect. Good question. Thank you. I'll answer a lot of those. They'll start coming up for you. We'll cover that. Awesome. Cool. Let's talk about a couple of fundamentals. So these are considerations to think about before you take Social Security, and as far as just planning for retirement. Does longevity have an effect on Social Security and how much income you can make? What do you guys think? Are people living less or more now? Longer, right? So the concern maybe you might have is, am I going to run out of money? Questions I get is, am I going to be able to take income for life and not run out of money, right? So the longer you live, that's a major concern today. So that's something to keep in mind that you might be thinking about. Liquidity. Having liquidity for an emergency or something happens, does your plan have does it adjust to liquidity or needing money in case something ever happens? So these are some of the stress tests and things you're going to want to keep in mind aside from just Social Security. So we're going to cover it. Inflation. Can inflation, the way inflation is going, could that affect your purchasing power on your Social Security? Yes. Yeah. Market volatility. The ups and downs of the market. In 2008, I had clients who were ready to retire. And then 2008 hit, 41% drop in the S&P. People lost 40% of their portfolio. Did you think they have to go back to work? I'm sure you saw articles, you saw a lot of case studies of people having to go back to work because they didn't really have a sure plan around market volatility for retiring. Mortality. If you lost a loved one today, unfortunately I had 2 clients this year pass away, and having the widow handle everything, that's a major effect, can play a major effect on your loved one if one passed away. So you want to just know these things can happen to anyone, and what do you do in these instances? What about taxes? Taxes, right? Do you think taxes are going down or taxes are going up?
Going up.
It's going up, right? Yeah. We'll get into these. I'm going to talk about a few things. A lot of people have qualified plans. So when you hear me talk about the term wealth transfers mean money you're unknowingly and unnecessarily losing. I don't have that definition on the slide, but you might hear me talk about that. It's money you're losing unknowingly and unnecessarily. For example, if taxes are going up, why are you putting money pre-tax today to pay the tax later when taxes are going to go up? Think about that. A lot of times the misconception was, well, I'm going to make less money, I'm going to be in a lower tax bracket. Your bracket may be lower, but what is that bracket and percentage going to be? Every tax bracket's going to go up. So have you stress test that to make sure how much does Uncle Sam collect and how much do you take by postponing it to later? So 401k, IRAs is not a tax savings, it's a tax deferral system. You want to know, is it really going to benefit me to put away pre-tax, or should I be putting money post-tax and saving money after tax and pay taxes now so that way later when taxes go up I don't pay it, right? It's like a loan. What's your name? Scott. I'm going to lend you $10,000. What's a common question you're going to ask me if I'm going to lend you money? What's the interest rate? Second question you might ask, what's the term? I'm going to say, you know what? Don't worry about the interest rate or term. We're going to sign this contract. I'll give you 10 grand. The interest rate, we're going to leave blank, and the term, we're going to leave blank. We're not doing that. Why are we doing it with 401ks? See where I'm going with it? So there's a place to strategize there, but there's also wealth transfers that you might be making a mistake there. So we're not going to get into all of these today, but I just want you to be aware that we're going to cover wealth transfers on Social Security tonight and strategies there, but you want to make sure you understand these other key fundamentals as well. All right, potential impact of maximizing Social Security, calculating your Social Security. So we're going to cover a few things here. Let's go over some math. Let's say your Social Security benefit's $1907 times 12. Let's say you're 66 years old, and you multiply your average monthly benefit by 12 months, $22,884 is your annual Social Security benefit. You multiply that by 22 years if you're a female, If you, let's say, retire at 66, 22 years is kind of a average life expectancy is what they put on the Social Security office. So your benefit there would be $503,000 potential benefit for a female if that was your scenario. Now, if it's a spouse, your spouse would get, let's say, $434,000. Let's say it's 1907 times the benefit there, 19 years. So the difference is about 3-year difference is what they give male versus female. That means $434,000 in Social Security benefit. A household combined, that's just a average Social Security income for a household. That's a pretty hefty number, right? When you put it into 20 years, 19 years. That's a lot that we don't want to leave on the table or make a mistake. Because the mistake is lost opportunity. That dollar you miss is not just the dollar you lose. The dollar at 20%, or sorry, at 7% for 20 years, right? That money you find that you would have lost, you add that at 6, 7, 8% on earnings for 15, 20 years, how much are you really putting out on the table, right? So this really adds up. That's why this is a huge amount of money we want to make sure that you want to capture. It's going to be one part of your income. Let's talk about some of the mistakes. A retiree collects, so retirees will collectively lose $3.4 trillion, an average of $110,000 per household in potential income that they could have been spending during retirement because they claim Social Security suboptimal time. So anytime I share something, by the way, for those of you who like to do research, for every slide you see, if there's a little number, at the end I have a cited chart on everything that I share. These are all real facts that I collect. And if you wanted that and read more about like just this, where does this info come from? Who did this research? I can get you that as well later on. So let me know if you need that. At the end, you can take pictures of all the sites where all this stuff comes from. $3.4 trillion in lost opportunity because of mistakes, because of the complexity you just mentioned there. All right. In 2023, 67 million Americans received Social Security in the amount of $1.4 trillion is what we're collecting. We're printing money, right? $1.4 trillion is what's required to fund Social Security today. On average, Social Security represents 30% of retirees' income. So a third of your income in retirement will come from potentially Social Security. That's a third. We don't want to make mistakes here. Let's talk about your needs. In retirement, I want to break out a few things. Your needs are shelter, food, clothing, medical, transportation. And then your wants are what we want to spend our time, right? We don't want to just do all of this just to cover your needs. You want to be able to satisfy your needs and be able to satisfy your wants. Everybody's wants are different, right? Some want to travel, one wants to take care of their grandkids, one wants to, help a charity, whatever that might be that's important to you, whatever your wants are. We want to make sure you can solve your needs and your wants. Six risks to retirement income: longevity, liquidity, inflation, market volatility, mortality, and taxes. We want to make sure these things here do not take away from your immediate needs and your wants. That's what this is all about. Potential sources of retirement. So Social Security is a third. Here are other sources for you that you might also be relying on. Pension. If you have a pension, some do. Most people don't have pensions. But if you do, that might be another source for you. 401ks and IRAs. If you're relying on 401ks, IRAs, qualified plans is what we call them, that might be another source of retirement income. Your investment portfolio, if you have money in the market. Real estate, if you have rental properties and you're relying on your rental properties to generate income, that might be a source of income. You might have an annuity that generates income for you in retirement through work or wherever, and Social Security. These are all the potential sources of income. A third of that, on average, will come from Social Security. Here's a key principle I want you to take home tonight with you. Protect the income that you need in retirement so that you can help maximize the income for the things you want in retirement. We're going to talk about planning agendas tonight. I'm going to go over definitions, key benefits, calculations. I'm going to show you the 5 key decision scenarios, the different scenarios. We're going to talk about cost of living adjustments, taxation of benefits and Social Security. That's what we're covering right now. We're going to get into the technical pieces of Social Security. Handling a benefit claim mistake. So if you've made a mistake, or let's say you make a mistake, there are some possibilities of fixing that. I'll go over the procedure for that tonight. And strategies on how to help maximize your benefits. So let's dive in and go into that. So a couple faces up to 9,000 possible claiming combinations. Social Security Administration cannot coordinate with outside assets. So their role, if they give you any help, they cannot coordinate outside assets to help you make the right decision. They can just tell you about your credits and what it means in simple terms. Social Security Administration is prohibited from giving advice to consumers and professionals. So some you mentioned earlier, they just said you have to figure it out legally because they're not allowed to give, they're not licensed to do so. So that's why you might face that if you're trying to get them to help. Rules and law continue to change year after year. There were several changes in 2024 that I want to share with you. Social Security is about as complicated as a fiscal system as is humanly possible to design. This is Lawrence Kotlifkoff, Boston University professor of economics. He's an award-winning economist. You can research him a little bit later if you like. He has some really good stuff and research he's done on Social Security. At the end, number 7 right there, I can give you sites and links of where I study and where I get our resources to provide the information we're providing tonight. Key definitions. Let's go over some definitions. So when I talk about PIA, if you hear me in the PowerPoint going forward and you see me talk about PIA, that means primary insurance amount. The payment a person would get if elects to begin receiving retirement benefit at the normal retirement age. At this age, the benefit is neither reduced for early nor increased. So PIA is the full retirement benefit, not less or not higher. So that's what PIA stands for. Cost of living. If you see COLA, COLA stands for cost of living adjustments. That's Social Security has general benefits and adjustments that they make based on cost of living. They use the Consumer Pricing Index and they use a few other sources to come up with your cost of living adjustments on a year-to-year basis. FRA, when you hear me talk about the term FRA, FRA means full retirement age. If you were born before 1937, FRA was 65 by the Social Security Office. If you're born from 1943 to 1954, 66 is considered your FRA. If you're born 1960 or later, your FRA is considered 67. Okay? 3 different years how they consider the age of which a person may first become entitled to full or unreduced retirement benefits. Okay, now we'll talk about if you take it early, there's changes. If you take it later, there's changes. I'm going to go over that as well. But FRA. Now, let's talk about benefit calculations. Your Social Security benefits are based on your lifetime earnings. Okay, they calculate this based off your lifetime earnings. To calculate your PIA benefit, the Social Security Administration will index your earnings for inflation. Your PIA benefit is based on the highest 35 years of indexed earnings. Okay? Later on, you might have your own personal questions like, how do I calculate it and how do I think this might fall under your question earlier? There's ways to figure that out, and I'll talk to you about that on a separate note on, I'll need to know a little bit more to answer more of a precise answer for you. But this should give you at least the right direction on understanding how the formulas work. So, highest 35 years of your indexed earnings. And this is the full amount that you will receive at your full retirement age, FRA. Key changes. Let's talk about a few changes. January 2024, Social Security beneficiaries will receive a 3.2% cost of living adjustment. Maximum tax earnings increase. The maximum amount of earnings subject to Social Security tax will increase to $168,600 in 2024. Question, is Social Security taxed or untaxed? Taxed? Yeah, something that's untaxed. I'm going to show you the chart when it's untaxed and when it's taxed and how the calculation works. So I have a chart for you on this. But basically, there,
Double taxation.
yeah, so double taxation, yes. You pay on that and then you pay on all the other stuff, yes.
You pay when you earn it and you pay when you receive it.
Yeah. So, a couple other changes. The maximum Social Security benefits for a worker retiring at FRA will increase from $36.27 to $38.22. That's the increase in 2024. This applies to those retiring at FRA at 67 for anyone born after 1960. If you're born in between that, it's 66. If it's before that, it's 65. But FRA basically is what they're referring to. So that is increasing in 2024. Benefits for surviving spouses increase. On average, aged widows and widowers living alone will see their benefits also increase from $17.18 to $17.73. And again, there's a number there for sites for later if you want to calculate and get into the real intricacies of the technical data that you're seeing on here. Earnings test exempt amounts adjustments. For those workers who claim retirement benefits before reaching FRA, Social Security will withhold some benefits above a certain income level. So there's a hold-up if you're taking Social Security and you're claiming it before the FRA that you have. In 2024, an individual can earn up to $22,320 per year before benefits are withheld at the rate of $1 in benefits for every $2 above the limit. I know this is where people get lost, like $1, $2, and you get a little, later I can explain this. Again, just kind of know some of these, and we can get deeper into this later on the technicality of how does that calculate to me personally. We'll talk about that. Yeah, let me put the last one up. In the year the individual reaches FRA, the individual can earn up to $59,520 per year before benefits are withheld at the rate of $1 in benefits for every $3 earns above the limit. Again, just bear with me. These are the boring gibberish stuff that may apply to you, may not apply to you. But I just want to get through some of the key changes. I want to get into the strategies. Withheld benefits are added to the monthly benefit once the individual reaches FRA. All right, let's talk about 5 common decision scenarios. I want to go over some of the common ones that you probably were thinking about or maybe have heard about. The first one is the common one, the one that most people talk about is claiming benefits early versus later. Second one is spousal benefits. How do we get spousal benefits? Third one is divorce spousal benefits in the event of a divorce. Number 4, surviving spousal benefits. And number 5, guardian benefits, caring for grandchildren. If you have adopted a grandchild, and if you get benefits, you get your benefits, plus you might get benefits from that caring of the child. So we'll talk about that as well. So 5 key ones I want to cover tonight. So the first one. So here, let's say I wanted to round this off to $1,000 to make the math easy. I don't want to use a $22,000 calculation and figure that out. So let's say your FRA is $1,000. That means your full retirement age benefit on your Social Security statement says $1,000 at age 66. If you decide to take it early as the individual, at 62, you're getting a 25% reduction from your FRA. If you take it at 63, it's a 20% reduction. At 64, it's 13%. At 65, it's a 7% reduction. In numbers, 930, 870, 800, and 750. Now, obviously, you know, when you go and check your Social Security statement, if you get a copy of it, you can see what your benefit is. If you decide to take it early, just keep in mind, this is kind of the fundamental math on what you can expect and how the calculation is if you take it early. let's look at possible reasons why someone would take it early. Number one, you need the money, right? You can't wait. You want to retire and you need the money. You can't wait till 67 or 70 to retire. Number two, you are in poor health and health reasons require you to take it. I've had a client recently that came to me and they wanted to take it early, and we looked at the Social Security benefits. We ran the calculation on the software, and they were going to take it early because they went to the Social Security office. Social Security office said, take it early. This is what you need to take. And we went through the calculation, and instead of taking Social Security early, we started bringing other investments first for 2-3 years. Then we took Social Security later because there was additional benefits if we delayed it 2 or 3 years. It was a $62,000 mistake if they took it early. In a medical situation that they're in, they can't think straight, they can't think, they're just thinking about the medical problem. They're thinking emotionally, not logically. So luckily we're able to run the numbers and say, okay, yes, you need the money. Let's get the money from here first, from this pocket. Let's not touch this pocket right now, because if you take it now, this pocket's going to cost you $62,000 in lost opportunity. So those changes can make a difference. So understanding your options and every option, we can stress test this. So later on, I can go over your personal situation. What are some things you can do? If you had one option or the other, we can run different test 1, 2, 3 and show you 3 different ways of taking it and which one would give you the highest benefit. So you might have those questions later. But right now, we'll cover just the options that are available. If you earn less than the annual earning cap, that's a reason why someone may take it early. If it makes sense for your spouse and children, maybe it's just a family decision why you want to take it early. You go back. Make sense? We're good so far? All right. Let's look at taking Social Security later. $1,000 FRA, full retirement age. You take it at 67, you get an 8% increase above your FRA. You take it 2 years later, it's a 16%, 24%, or 32%. So if you can postpone till 70, you can see it's a 32% increase. And that's not all. There's going to be some other things that are going to come in that brings it, it makes it a little complex, like what's our spousal benefits added to that if that's the case. So we're going to talk about some other stuff as well, but I want to make sure you just understand some of the fundamentals. You wait later, 32% increase. You take it early, it's a 25% reduction if you take it at 62. Got that? We're good so far? All right. Taking benefits later also gives you a bigger increase as any, here's the other part, with cost of living adjustment, 3.2% minimum and potentially increasing, you're not just losing the 32%, you're potentially losing the cost of living adjustments that you would be giving up because you decided to take it early. What if there's ways you can postpone it before? What is those options? What does it mean to you to be able to accomplish more and have more money to cover your needs and your wants? This is all about capturing as much money and not giving it up if you don't have to. So we covered that. Now, let's look at all of it on a full spectrum from the lowest to the highest. This pretty much sums just lowest benefits you can take if your FRA was 1,000 and your highest. Who would like to see this in their own numbers if they're able to see this picture and every options from the pictures to the specific strategies? How many of you think you would benefit from that, being able to see that in real time for your own personal situation? Anyone? Right? Yeah. What is that? That gives you better decision making? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And again, we'll cover all of this. I have a bunch of slides still, a lot of good material, and then just write down your questions anywhere you want, and we'll come back and we'll answer personal questions or anything, and we'll come back to the slides if that's okay. Is that helpful to see that? So that's strategy or scenario 1. Spousal benefits, what does that mean? When a worker files for retirement benefits, The worker's spouse may be eligible for a benefit based on the worker's earnings. That's spousal benefits. A non-working spouse will receive 50% of their spouse's PIA benefits if they apply at FRA. Key, right? Big lost opportunity if we don't file it at FRA. Did we even know that? We could have made that mistake. I see so many families that they take it at certain times, they don't add all the other combinations and options that are available to them because they didn't run the math, they didn't see the numbers in real time. So 50% of your spouse's benefit can go lost opportunity if you didn't apply at FRA. Some more. A spouse can choose to retire at 62. However, their benefit could be reduced by as much as 32.5% depending on their FRA. Spousal benefits are gender neutral. Spousal benefits don't earn delayed credits. So there's a few key things you should know. This is, by the way, sourced in the Social Security Administration often. 90% of my stuff, I pull it directly from the Social Security office, and I get you the data, and then I have a few stuff from other sources as well that are credited for this presentation tonight. Now, in most cases, it makes sense for higher earning spouses to delay benefits up to age 70 to secure the maximum benefits. The key is the higher earning spouse may make sense. Now, it could get complex here based on your age difference too. We had a family recently, the husband is 11 years apart from the wife, and both parents, when they first came to this session, they went online, they went to Social Security office, they did all this research, and both were going to take it at 70 because they got their Social Security statements. They were both working earners, and they showed me the math. They ran their own math on a calculator, and it said 70 full benefits, and they said they can wait, and it showed that they were going to get the highest benefits. We ran that scenario, and surprisingly, because of the age difference and their crediting, it was better for the husband to take it at 70, but the wife to take it at 62. When I ran the math with half of the spousal benefits during that 8 years before the other spouse took the full retirement benefits or all the other benefits, that math combined that way actually came out $160,000 greater versus the simple math of both waiting to 70 because the statement said 62 is the least and 70 is the highest. So don't immediately assume that there's only 3 ways of taking Social Security: lowest, middle, which is FRA, or highest. All right, here's Judy. Judy works outside of the house. PIA for simple math is $1,000. By the way, these are real clients. I just simplified the numbers so you understand the math, so it's easier to understand it. PIA is $1,000. Jim retires at 66 and claims his benefits, which is $2,400. At 62, Judy decides to claim her benefits early. Reduced monthly benefits, $1,000 is Judy's PIA, minus 25% because she's taking it at 62. So that means she's going to get a reduced benefit of $750. Judy's spousal add-on was $1,200, right? Half of Jim's PIA, minus $1,000, which is Judy's PIA. They take the $1,200, subtracted by that, gives you $200 spousal add-on benefit. So what is Judy's spousal add-on? $200 minus $60 is the 30% early benefit reduction. Remember in the 2024 change with the 30% reduction for spousal, that's where that comes. Later on we can get back into that. But 30% reduction because she took it early. That means her spousal add-on goes down to $140. I'm going to add them all up for you so you can see what happened here. $750 was her reduced benefit. $140 is her reduced spousal benefit. Her total reduced monthly benefit is $890. This is important to understand your situation. If you're married, your spouse's situation, and run all the different combinations for your family to determine which route makes the most sense. And then we add all that number, all those numbers you want to add it by 19 or 22, right? Male or female. You run that by 22 or 19 years, so that way we see the total lifetime earning versus option 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever options that are available to you.
I'm sorry, did you say he's still working in this scenario? Or he's retired also?
He retired. Yeah. So let's look at another scenario. Divorced spousal benefits. This is, if you are divorced, you can receive benefits based on your ex-spouse's record. Hey, check this out. You can go right back after him or her. I said or her. I said both. I said both. So check this out. You are 62 years of age or older. So here are the rules, though. You are 62 years of age or older. You are currently unmarried. Your marriage lasted 10 years, so you better keep him or her for 10 years before you come after this strategy. The benefits you are entitled is less than the benefits you would receive based on your ex-spouse's work. Okay? And I'm going to show you this example. I'm going to show you the technical stuff, then I'm going to show you a case study.
You can also collect on that if they're dead.
Yes, we'll get there. Yes, we'll get there. All right, additional notes. If your ex-spouse is not claiming benefits, you can still receive benefits if the marriage lasts 10 years and you have been divorced for 2 years or more. Okay? A little bit more twist to this. If you're eligible for retirement benefits on your own record, SSA will pay that amount first. If the benefit on your ex-spouse's record is higher, you will get an additional amount so that the combination of benefits equals the higher amount. Okay? Can you see why there's 9,000 different combinations in some cases, or many cases, so many different options? All right, let's role play this. Gloria and Hank were married for 40 years, divorced for 2 years. Hank is 62, his PIA is $4,000. Gloria was a stay-home mother for most of her life, and therefore her PIA was only $400. Gloria is unmarried, not working, and decides to claim her benefits at 62. Let's look at her benefits. 400 is her PIA, minus 120, right? Early benefits. $280 is the reduced benefit. Gloria's spousal add-on is $2,000, right? 50%, half of Hank's, $2,000, minus 400 because of the reduction. 1,600 is Gloria's spousal add-on. Then you add the 1,600 minus 480 on the early reduction there. 1,120 is Gloria's reduced spousal add-on. Following? Now this is a little complex for some, maybe it doesn't apply to everybody, but I want to just show you the methodology and how to start calculating this. All right, total benefits. $280 for Gloria's reduced benefit. 1,120 for the spousal benefit. 1,400 is Gloria's reduced total benefits. See how we come up with the numbers? That's going to be important to know your scenario and all the combinations and running that. So that way you see everything before you decide which route makes sense. And then obviously with all of this, you want to bring in your other sources that you want to solve for your wants. How is that going to impact with any of those wealth transfers I was sharing earlier, the 6 common things that can affect all of this as well? We want to make sure we stress test that as well. All right, let's go to surviving spousal benefits. Surviving spouse benefits means survivor benefits will be based on the higher earning spouse's benefits, including any delayed credits. Again, this is surviving spousal benefits. The spouse need not have already applied for the surviving spouse to receive the higher benefits. A surviving spouse may claim reduced benefits as early as 60 or 50 if they are disabled, if not remarried prior to age 60. This is just going to probably drive you crazy with if this, if that, and all that. So I get it. I know this is again, I'm simplifying it as much as I can. Later, there's an easier way to figure this out. If the surviving spouse was married at least 10 years and their ex-spouse dies, they may be entitled to survivor benefits of the ex-spouse, what Nancy was talking about earlier. A survivor at FRA is entitled to 100% of a deceased worker's benefits, including any delayed retirement credits earned by the deceased. I'm going to show you a case study of this. Carrie. Doug and Carrie are married. Doug unexpectedly passes away. Carrie, age 55, meets and marries John. Right? Doug's gone. They're remarried. At age 60, Carrie went to claim Doug's benefits, but was disallowed because of her marriage to John. Carrie divorces John. And now is able to claim her survivor benefits from previous marriage. Doug came back. He's like, you ain't going to stay with this John guy. I'm coming back. You want your money? You better divorce him. By the way, this is a real case study. This is real clients. I've dealt with this kind of stuff. But these are real scenarios. So note to self, if you're gonna get remarried, make sure the benefits are not too high, that things are gonna happen there. So just be strategic here. Just kidding. That was a joke. All right, so let's look at guardian benefits. This is for caring for grandchildren. The parent of the child must be deceased, disabled, or the grandparent has legally adopted the grandchild. Those are the cases this applies. The grandchild must begin living with the grandparent before age of 18 and has received at least one half of his or her support from grandparents the year prior the month the grandparents became entitled to retirement benefits. The parent of the child must not be making regular contributions to the child support. And if the grandparents are already receiving benefits, he or she would need to adopt the child to qualify for additional benefits. Step grandchildren and adopted grandchildren may also qualify in this scenario. Auxiliary benefits for grandchildren can be as much as 180% of the primary earner's benefits, which would include any potential spousal add-on benefits as well on top of that. If the child they're adopting from, if they had spousal support, all that gets added to the grandparent if it meets the rules. All right, let's take a look at this one. Maria is 68, FRA is 67, unmarried and retired. Maria's PIA is $2,000 a month. Maria's legal guardian of Anna and Sophia through adoption. Anna and Sophia may qualify to receive up to 75% of Maria's full retirement benefits until the age of 18 or 19 years of age if they are full-time students still living with Maria. Let's look at the math. $2,000 Maria's PIA, 75% auxiliary benefit allowance, $1,500 per month is 2 children, right? You have Sophia, so you have 2 kids, Anna and Sophia, so it's $750 per child because she adopted 2. Maria's new total benefits is $3,500, the $1,500 plus her PIA, so she gets her benefits plus she's getting the $1,500 from the guardian benefits. Make sense? That's another scenario. Now, there's many other scenarios that may apply. That's just the common. I run those just to show you that each individual is going to have a different combination or different combinations you're going to want to see before you decide to take your Social Security. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of savings I see missed because of not understanding the complexities around Social Security benefits. Let's talk about taxation COLA benefits. Yes?
I just want to make a parenthesis because when they talk about, the grandchildren and adopted children and all that, but you know what nobody really talks about, and I found out this by accident, is, for example, if you're a father, say you're 65, you want to retire, and you have a child under the age of 18, he gets a benefit from his parents. So it's something that even Social Security, they don't know.
Yeah. Yep. That's another scenario.
It didn't come up here, so that's.
Yeah.
what I-
Yep, and that's why I said there's so many we can present, and we've done. The 5 kind of falls in that. So that scenario falls in the context of the 5th option to some degree in that area. So I wanted to show the framework of 5 key options, and then within those there's sub-options that can apply to each. The divorced, married, remarried, there's so many different ways that can fall in that category alone. So again, so COLA, cost of living adjustments, designed to keep up with inflation. This should be pretty self-explanatory. It's tied to CPI, Consumer Pricing Index. 2024, it's 3.2% increase. Average benefits went from 1848 to 1907 in 2024. So a little bit about COLA. If you're concerned that COLAs may not provide you with enough income to combat inflation, consider utilizing other income sources. So other income sources are going to be important because 1/3 of your income for your needs can get covered to Social Security. We want to get the maximum, and then we want to look at other income sources. What are the best strategies in combination with Social Security to cover your needs, but also to cover your wants as well? And how do you make sure you don't run out of money without the longevity and all those other stress tests that go into this? Taxation benefits. Social Security benefits are subject to federal income tax if income rises above certain thresholds. I'm going to show you the thresholds. About 50% of Social Security recipients pay federal income tax on a portion of their benefits. Provisional income, PI. PI is used to determine whether you will pay taxes on your Social Security benefits. So PI is kind of like what dictates that. How to calculate PI. Adjusted gross income before Social Security plus any municipal interest income you're receiving, if that applies to you, equals your modified adjusted gross income. MAGI is your modified adjusted gross income. Based on that, they take half of your Social Security benefits and they come up with your PI, your provisional income. And again, that's number 20 in the sites. Later I can show you the math behind that if that's something you would like to see. Let's continue. Here's the chart. A single individual receiving under $25,000 on their PI, they pay 0 taxes on it. $25,000 as a single to $34,000, 50% is going to be taxable. A single above $34,000, 85% taxable. Now, this is not, you're going to pay 85% in income tax. So let's make sure you understand. You're not paying 85% income tax on that amount. It's saying 85% of that scenario, you're going to be taxed. Married filing jointly, there's the math there. So in most cases, unless you fall in this category or in that very special circumstance in these two, you would fall somewhere between there. So most likely you're going to be taxed. And again, we'll go through questions in a little bit. I saw some hands go up. Taxation for Jennifer's benefits. Jennifer single, plans to continue working until age 70. She would like to start claiming Social Security at age 66 at FRA. Her adjusted gross income before Social Security benefits is $50,000. So her income adjusted gross on the tax return is AGI, adjusted gross income, $50K. She has $10,000 in muni bonds that she's receiving and tax-free income basically. That's what muni bonds are, they're tax-free income. So she gets $10,000 there. So her modified adjusted gross income is $60,000. So if you were told muni bonds are tax-free, it is, but there's a catch. When you take Social Security, it gets added back in your provisional income. 50% Social Security benefit, half of the Social Security, let's say it's $10,000. So your provisional income in this scenario, if this was Jennifer, her PI is $70,000. If over the $34,000 income, which she is, that means 85% of the $20,000 Social Security benefits will be taxed at 22%. So this is where her tax bracket is 22%. So she's going to pay 22% income tax based off of 85% of that $20,000 Social Security benefit. All right. Handling a benefit claim mistake. I see mistakes. I had a client that I was doing a workshop here. They came in and we looked at their scenario. They took it 4 months too soon. Luckily, we were able to save it. So I'll share some mistakes and what you can do. When there's a mistake, there's an application withdrawal process you can take. You can withdraw your application. An individual can withdraw their application benefits only once in their lifetime, and it must be within 12 months of first claiming the benefits. Okay, so it has to be within 12 months. They must file Form SSA 521 and repay any benefits they have received, including any benefits that a spouse has collected on their earnings and their credits. So that's one way of a mistake. It's called a withdrawal process. A second one is called a benefit suspension. You're suspending the benefits. In this scenario, there's an option that allows individuals who reached FRA to voluntarily suspend, but not repay. So you're not repaying back what you collected. The Social Security benefits have received, so there's a way to suspend it. So what happens in suspended benefits earn delay, retired credits worth 8% per year. Every year the individual postpones collecting his or her benefits up to age 70. So basically, you can suspend it, and then there's a calculation for that. So basically, in a mistake, just know there's two possible ways. You could either suspend or withdraw if you meet certain rules. So if you've taken it or are taking it, you still have an opportunity to look at your strategies to see what are the best strategies. Did I take it too soon? Did I make a mistake? Can I change it? Even if you're after the 12-month scenario. I've worked with families. I had a family that we looked at it. The Social Security was fine, but we figured out where are we losing money unknowingly and unnecessarily from the other 70% of income they were taking, and we stress test areas that they were losing money that we needed and we wanted to correct. So there's definitely other things we want to look at. We want to make sure we're taking advantage of other potential income as well, not just Social Security by itself. Strategies to help maximize your benefits. Let's talk about some key takeaways and then we'll answer questions for you. On average, Social Security accounts for 30% of retiree income. A couple has 9,000 claiming combinations and 110,000 in potential income loss. 1.4 trillion a year goes in lost income on how the claim is taken. 50% of Social Security recipients pay federal income tax on portion of their benefits. It is better to optimize your Social Security benefits and try to do it correctly. So it's better to do now and be more proactive than take it and realize you made mistakes. So if you haven't taken yours or you're planning to take it, you're in the right timing. The sooner you know your options, the more strategies you have on optimizing all your total benefits. So that's an area we can show you how we can individually run those reports and show you. I'm going to explain some of those reports for you in just a second. Determine the following. Your basic is get your Social Security statement. You go to SSA. I'm going to show you the website. You should go and find out what your estimated benefits are. When do I need to claim my benefits? Just to get some of the basics. What are my spousal considerations? What maximization strategies apply to my situation? You can go to ssa.gov and you can get your statement, your current statement, and our basics is we want to get these 4 questions so we see where you're at, where you want to be, what are your options. If you've run math and numbers already, like a couple of you mentioned, we want to take it early, here's something, we should stress test that. Let's go through it and look at that and make sure you're making the right decisions. Now, key principles. Back to the key principle. Protect the income that you need in retirement so that you can help maximize the income for the things you want, for the stuff that matters the most to you and your loved ones. That's what this is all about. You've worked so hard for this, you should claim and get the most benefit, even if it's to give it to your grandkids, to give it to someone you love. The last thing you want to do is unknowingly and unnecessarily to give it to the government. They've collected their share, you pay your taxes, you've been a good Samaritan, you've done your part. You should know your benefits and your options and not lose $100,000, $200,000 in Social Security benefits by taking suboptimal options. We want to get the maximum benefits. So for that, Social Security benefits are expected to be payable in a timely manner until 2037. If you look at your statements, it says till 2037. They have a trust fund and reserves, and they have a plan. After 2037, it's a big problem, right? There's a big question mark. So we want to make sure we get the maximum benefits. Again, your needs. We want to solve your minimum needs so that way we can spend our time focusing on the things you want to do. And with that, we want to take an account in when we meet with you. I'll go over some cool reports that I would be able to offer you, complimentary. I'll cover that in a second. We want to take your total income chart and make sure you get the maximum benefits there, and then look at where else is going to solve the rest and which income combination between your Social Security and all your other sources, which one should come first, second, or third. For example, we run a report. I was helping a family. They want $8,500 a month in the next 6 years. They want to retire in 6 years. And they have 401ks, they have Social Security, and they have a little bit of IRAs and a few other assets. We ran an income chart, and for 14 years, they were going to be able to receive that income. At the 14th year, they were going to run out of money because we put it through a stress test. And when we showed them every month, every year, taking income from Social Security, supplementing the difference from their other sources of income, that money lasts them 14 years. At the 14-year mark, they were only going to get $2,500 a month. They would have lost the other $6,000 because they would have been out of money. So that distribution strategy we ran, the way they had it, they were going to run out of money. We made 2 or 3 changes today on their income strategy. Their income went to age 100, and they had money left over as a legacy. So it's really important, the power of planning and strategizing and having the proper guidance. The difference here is, this is my 20th year doing this. The only reason why I know this is because it's just practice doing something over and over again. Any line of work you guys are in, I bet you guys can do it better than I can. If I got into your line of field, it'll take me a while to learn. I would have to get coached by you. You would teach me your line of work, but it'll take me a while to learn. But eventually I can probably get good at it, just like I played soccer. If we played soccer, I would win every day. But if we played basketball and I was okay with basketball, but not good, and you were good, you would play the game better. It's called practice and mastery and doing that. This is my expertise. This is the planet and the world I've been put in. I just have this thrive to want to make an impact in your life and want to help you achieve your dreams and your goals, because I just thrive on that. For whatever reason, I'm strategic. I like looking at things. I see things from a lens that you may not see, only because you haven't been down that path. So I kind of say I'm kind of like a tour guide. The strategy where you want to go, I can tell you, you want to go down this path? Here are 5, 6 families that's gone this path. Here are the do's and don'ts, and here are the pitfalls if you're going to go down this road. But if you go down this road, here are little changes you can make, and it's just a more clearer path for you versus this one. You don't want to be in the road to realize that you've made mistakes, because it's hard backtracking and saying, wish I woulda, coulda, or done all that. I just see things, and I know you're going down a path I don't want you to go. And I would love to help you there and give you the opportunity for that. So I'll just take 2 minutes and I'll share with that, and I have Genesee here that can help. So when we meet, we're gonna stress test your Social Security option you ran, if you have an option. If you don't, that's okay. I'm gonna show you every option. And we're gonna stress test it through these 6 key lenses and go, does it take care of your longevity? Does it take care of liquidity if you need liquidity? What if your money right now, you lose 20, 40% of your money? Is that gonna change your retirement and your path? I want you to have the confidence and have the empowerment to know that the option you take is the most optimal way, so that way you can achieve all of your needs and your wants. So what's going to happen is this. Your evaluation and your form you have, you would turn that into Genesee. What I have is I have a diagnostic report that I'm going to give you, and here's how this works. You're going to get a packet from her, and she has my calendar. I open up about 15 complimentary spots for you guys. And what I did is that complimentary spot is going to allow you to come to my office. I'm in Northridge. I'm right on Corbin and Nordhoff. So I'm very close if you live local in the Valley. I do a lot of talks all over LA, Orange County, everywhere. Most places I go speak will not have the opportunity to come to my office because it's too far, so they do Zoom sessions with me. But I live here in Porter Ranch. We have 2 kids. We're blessed to have 2 kids, and they go to school here now. Our kids went to St. John Eudes, if you know the Catholic school here, and they go to Chaminade. And our kids are being raised here. I'm here locally. I'm right down the street here. So if you want someone that truly cares, someone that's been there, done it, and is still doing it, and you want to get a second opinion or you want help, I'd love to be able to provide that. So our process is going to be this. You're going to get a packet. In that packet, there's a questionnaire. Very important that you fill out that questionnaire and just bring it with you in your one-on-one session. If your spouse is here, both husband and wife, both of you should be in that session, because that way we can discuss. You might have different goals, right? One wants to go to the Philippines, one may not. We just got to make sure everybody's on the same page, right? So I want to make sure if you're married, both of you should come. You get the most out of the session when you're here in our session together. So it's local. We're going to spend about 45 minutes to an hour. I'm going to get to know you personally. Your personal questions you have, I'm going to be able to address your personal questions once I see average income, how long you've been working, what are your Social Security options, how much have you paid into it. I got to get some info from you to be able to give you the output in the diagnostic report. So our first session is going to be collecting all the data and getting to know you. So you tell me what your goals are, your challenges, what you want to accomplish. We're going to cover all that in about 45 minutes. Probably less than that, but about 45 minutes to an hour. At the end of that session, I'm going to give you all the questions you have, and I'm going to answer all your questions because I now know more about you than I know right now. You'll get your questions answered. At the end of that session, if I think I can help you and run a full diagnostic report, you're going to love this report. The report's going to show you every single scenario, like the case studies I showed you. It's not going to be the case study. It's going to be your scenario and every possible option and combination that only applies to your scenario. And I'm going to show you every option. You take it early, your total lifetime benefit is this. If you take it with this strategy and that strategy, your income is this. If you take it with this strategy, here's your high, your mid, and your low. And here are some pitfalls and some mistakes or things you want to be aware of. And we bring on all your other income stuff and we look at that to make sure we put it through a stress test. That stress test is going to give you the confidence. It's going to give you the empowerment to know that you are set to be able to retire and have that peace of mind to be able to achieve your wants. We're going to cover your basic needs so that we can spend our time on your wants. That's what I want to help you with. It's not just to get the minimum benefits. I want to help you achieve your goals and dreams. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Yep. Cool. So Genesee has my calendar. You would take a packet. Very important, you bring the packet with you. Bring like your Social Security statement if you have it. It'll say all the stuff just to bring. We're going to go through that. After, again, the first session, we're going to schedule a second session. Then I'm going to spend about 2 to 3 hours putting together the full diagnostic reports. And I'm going to run every stress test and every concern you have. We're going to run it, and we're going to figure out how do we solve those concerns and those challenges. I'm going to provide a full report with all those strategies for you in our second session. So this is a 2-part meeting, assuming I can help you after the first part. Some of you are going to come in after the first meeting. You're going to have all your answers you want, and that's all you need. And you're going to get a lot out of it, and that's all you need is just need that one session to go over your personal questions, and I'll be able to answer your questions. But some of you, other than just running that one or answering a few of your questions, will run that whole diagnostic. That's going to be part 2. Usually within a week or 2 after, we schedule part 2 of your meeting. That's the one everybody looks forward to. And I can tell you hundreds of thousands of savings you're going to be able to see through that financial diagnostic. And I look forward, I'm really excited to share that and actually show you. I get excited every time because the looks I get on parents, like I had no idea that this is available or this option. This was all left field for me. I want to see your face when I show you that. So I'd love for you to take on that opportunity. Again, it's complimentary. There's no charge for that. I just want to help you. This is part of the Adult Financial Education Services. It's a nonprofit. We just want to help you and put you on the right track. And then from there, if there's other areas that I can serve and help you and guide you, we'll discuss any other areas on wealth planning and strategies that maybe on tax strategies, wealth planning, financial planning, tax planning ideas that I can serve you and help you and guide you. Then we'll talk about any other areas that I think I can help you and provide. But this is complimentary and it's all provided for you. Was that helpful?
Yes.
Guys, thanks so much for coming. I'm going to open it up for questions if you have questions. While we're answering a few questions, Genesis is there ready to get you guys signed up for the session. Any general questions from the slides? Yes?
On the earlier slide for the early versus delayed,
Okay.
there was certain percentages. Are those benefit reduction percentages standard, or do they depend on the situation? Like you had listed minus 25%, 20.
Yeah, those are standard based on your FRA.
So then if you're, the example you showed had 66 as the FRA. If your FRA was 67, those percentages.
Yeah.
And those are all.
Yep.
on the X.
Correct.
Okay, they're all.
And then your FRA is where the complexity comes on how they come up with your FRA based on how long you've worked, the 35 years, and all those things I mentioned. That's your PIA. That's the FRA basically. So that is the complexity. But then once you decide to take early, those numbers are how you can decide early, FRA at exact FRA, or later to get the higher benefits. Cool. And then add another question? Yes?
If you hit full retirement age and decide to keep working and start collecting Social Security, is it definite?
Well, no. You get, if you take Social Security, you're going to take Social Security, and based on where your PI is, you're going to pay taxes on that, but you might still work.
You'll pay taxes on it.
Correct.
But there's no reduction in your
No.
benefit because
You've got the cap.
you
If you're,
did it full retirement.
yeah, for retirement. Correct. Yep. Yes.
You know, speaking of working, let's say you wait till you're 70. Here's the thing, half the time I go to the Social Security office, I get different answers. So somebody told me that you can make as much money as you want after your full retirement age, which is like, in my case will be 66 and 10. But now I was looking at yours, it's actually higher than that.
You're talking about the taxation? Is this a taxation question?
No, it's, you don't get penalized because you're working, they take that dollar away from you.
Oh yeah, once you hit full retirement age, you're getting the full benefits. The taxation, you still pay taxes based on where your PI
No,
is.
but if I say at 6610, I can make as much money as I want.
Yeah.
And it's, okay, fine.
Yep.
Now, could you explain a little bit about that 85% that it gets taxed? How that works out? Like if you make a certain amount of money,
We have to calculate that for you on the software to run your credits, see your PI, and then see how much of that would be taxed on top of other income. Remember, a third of your income will probably come from Social Security, and then your other income is going to be sourced through other means, right? So you might have that income is going to be taxed at a certain tax rate, if it's 50%, 85%, depending on that calculation. But then whatever else income you're taking, if you're taking 401k withdrawals, you're paying taxes on that. So then your total adjusted gross income may be 200,000, and then you're paying income tax on that bracket, the double taxation. So we can calculate those and figure out when should you take income if you're going to take more income, and how do you bring in what you want to do, where you might still want to work. We can run that and say, if you still work, when should you take Social Security so you get the most optimal benefits? That's where those combinations are going to be very complex, and I can run that for you. One more question, and then I got to wrap up. We got to get everything out. By the way, just so you know, the reason why this is recorded, this is going to be uploaded. You could eventually get a copy of this if you wanted to go back and take notes. If you have friends and family, other people that would benefit from this, they can go to our site, or they can contact us, and we'll be speaking on this in different locations. So I'd love to share this with anybody else that you think would benefit from this. So again, thank you all so much for coming. I hope this was helpful for you. Yes. One more question real quick?
No, I was just going to ask you a question. You know, on this section here that you were referring to, the potential income, we have two of them we do not have, but my husband and I have been debt-free for 6 years.
Okay.
So I feel everything's been planned. the only concern is, I'm saying, why,